Yeah, so there's quite a bit for us to speak about on today's show. The women have been dumped out of the Women's World Cup. And then we have some test cricket to talk about when it comes to South Africa versus Bangladesh. Now, mixed feelings about both that I want to be able to express on today's show, of course. I want to express what I feel about both performances, where I am right now. I had enough time since the completion of the World Cup match for me to think about it and digest everything, but yet there are still some puzzling questions that I have about it. So I hope that whoever joins the show today will be able to give me some insight into that. I hope you guys can give me some extra understanding in the live chat and get your thoughts over there too. Um, and let's have a conversation about the cricket that is taking place on today. And that's what the Daily Show is about. But before we get started, we have a little bit of a game that we need you guys to play with us, and that is to try to get us to 3,000 subscribers. We are 10 away from 3,000, so please get us a subscriber. If that button is red, click that notification bell, click that red button, and click that notification bell. If you're new to this channel as well, please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. You'll see the cover is Dean Alga. We have an exclusive interview with Dean Alga in the magazine, which is also available on the YouTube channel. So go ahead and have a look for that. You can please smash the like button. That will help us too. Comment and share and do all of those things as well. We also have a Patron account available, so please go ahead and become a patron today. That will help us keep the lights on, guys. So please go ahead and become a patron. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. So, guys, without further ado, there's a lot for us to talk about on today's show. Let's get straight into today's video. Let's get the chatting going. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show. I'm your host, Khalid Maiden. This is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with South African cricket. And in this particular episode, we'll be talking about the Proteas women's exit from the World Cup, as well as the men's game first test, day one of the test match against Bangladesh. So there's quite a bit to talk about. Let's start off with the Proteas women. I think let's get that out the way before we get into the test match, because there is quite a bit we need to uncover over here. So my summary of the women's game, very disappointed. It's a very disappointing end after they fought so hard to get through to the semi-final. Coming back, fighting hard, the fighting spirit they showed, they kept on getting wins, even though those games were very close. I was really impressed and really proud of the way South Africa conducted themselves until the semi-final. Let's talk about the semi-final, because I thought that it was a very basic performance from our players. It wasn't necessarily a very good performance from the ladies in this particular match. I was very, very upset with the amount of errors that were in this game. In a semi-final, you can't expect to win against the defending champions if you're going to make so many mistakes. So let's talk about those mistakes. I mean, South Africa lost by 137 runs. And that 140 of those runs were almost their fault themselves. So I'm going to talk about that right now, and we've got Aaron as well, because I really want to get his insight. Welcome to the show, brother. So when 137 run defeat, 140 runs were probably their own fault, with over, I think it was 20 extras, and dropping the main batter, Danny Wyatt, 5 times. It was absolutely pathetic from that perspective. So it's very difficult for me to have a conversation about this and not be upset about the performance, because we obviously expected much better from the Proteas ladies based on how they performed this entire series. Now, we were in a situation, and we were in a situation where it seemed like we were in control. And then the game kind of just slipped away from South Africa completely. I mean, starting off, the bowling performance was extremely good. A lot of people would say you've got England down 3 for 77, even 126 for 4 at that point after 25.4 overs. You would really think that they are in control at that time, that we will be getting those wickets, because I mean, it's South Africa, one of the best bowling attacks in the world currently, and we really thought that we'll be able to make it difficult for England to score those extra runs that we really um, desperately didn't want to concede, and yet they did. Danny Wyatt was excellent. I mean, even though she was dropped, she got a lifeline 5 times. Unfortunately, South Africa couldn't get their wicket until later on, and that's what set up the game for South Africa, for England ultimately. If we could have gotten that wicket a lot earlier, we might have been sitting here with a whole different understanding. And that's what irritates me the most, is that they failed, the manner in which they failed. If they came out there to the middle and gave you guys a fight, Aaron, for example, took you guys to the final over, and it was a close game again and we lost, I would be sitting here, you know, not upset about the situation. But the way they went out of this particular semi-final was very embarrassing. I have to admit that. Even though I'm proud of the ladies and what they've achieved, and I do think that they stand a very good chance with new people coming into this team, and taking the team to a next level. I do really think that new additions, there are certain additions that I really think should be added to this Proteas women's team that will really take them to the next level, actually. And some people might not believe me, but I do really believe that there are certain selections that I would make to take this team to the next level. And there's a foundation over here good enough for us to build onto something in the future. So we talk about the future often on this channel when it comes to the Proteas, but I think that's the only way we can stay motivated and really stay motivated and stay happy when it comes to our team, because we've been depressed and been let down so many times, especially in knockout games. And we're sitting here with Mr. Aaron, we're sitting here with Mr. Cricket Connoisseur, who's been on the opposite side of us. I mean, his teams have been on, when it comes to white ball cricket, has been on more of the winners side and winners table. So, Aaron, let's get your thoughts on this particular game. Let's start with your thoughts from an England perspective before we get into South Africa, and what you think South Africa could have done better, and how are you feeling? Because I know that you are also a South African fan as well as an England fan, so it would have been a difficult one for you to process.
I'm not sure I'd say the word difficult, but just to preface this,
Come on, give me a bone.
No, Harley, just to preface the entire dialogue and discussion, to be honest, first and foremost, congratulations to England, because I came on this channel after the South Africa group stage match, and I was feeling just how you were feeling after this semi-final, in particular about the fielding. I was absolutely gutted about how we had produced these poor performances in the first 3 games, because we're a lot better than that. And after those first 3 games, just for those who don't know, England percentage-wise had a 1% chance of making the knockouts. They haven't just made the semis, they made the final. We now have a 50% chance of retaining our title. So for that reason, honestly, words cannot express just how proud I am of that group of players. The bounce back ability, the resilience, the fortitude, the sheer mental strength and tenacity of Heather Knight's group there is to be admired and immensely respected. So for that reason, I'm absolutely elated. But then on the flip side, commiserations to South Africa, because this group have made South Africa very, very proud as a nation. We've seen the impact that they've had on women's cricket in this great country. It's just a shame that every single tournament you do have a performance like this. England had it, for example, in the men's 2019 World Cup. We got absolutely dispatched by Sri Lanka. It's all about timing. And England women have peaked at the right time in this tournament, and unfortunately for South Africa, they've had their bad performance at the worst possible time. With that being said, though, obviously you've already alluded to it, Harlid, in a way very much architects of their own downfall in this match. Danny Wyatt, you can't be dropping a batter of that calibre, a batter of that incredible talent. We saw how destructive that she can be throughout this entire semi-final. You can't be dropping her once, let alone on multiple occasions. So that is a massive, massive reason. But I also think another reason was just that England played their best cricket. As I said, Danny White, yes, she did take her chances, but she was absolutely magnificent. And I can't be talking about England's batting without mentioning Sophia
No.
Dunkley. What a talent. She was outstanding in the Bangladesh game in our final group stage match, the one which we needed to win. And then she comes out in this game so dynamic, so free flowing, so enterprising with the bat in hand. She was playing some beautiful shots against both the spin and the seam. Someone definitely to watch out for England heading into the future. And then another key aspect for me was the bowling
And
and England's
and I
fielding.
have and I have to give a shout out to Clay, to Blanche, because we actually recycled her test Q&A in our magazine this year, because we couldn't get a one in time. The twins really tried, two different people, and they couldn't get it through on time. But we recycled that one again because it made sense to this particular issue. And she actually mentioned her as a player, as one of her favorite players to watch for the future. So it's good call on Clay, Clay de Blanche, and congratulations also to the Western Province woman for winning the T20 competition as well. Because I mean, she's been doing excellent work with producing a lot of talented players. I mean, even though she lost a core group of her players like Laura Wolfart, Andre Steyn, um, there's Nadine de Klerk, so many top players she lost from her team, and they still won the tournament, which is very impressive. But I just wanted to mention that and give her a shout out there. Continue, Aaron.
No, perfectly valid shout out there, Harlid, because yeah, Claire's absolutely spot on. Excellent batter. Cannot wait to see how she begins to continues to develop, I should say, heading into the future. But it's not just Sophia Dunkley. We've got Charlie Dean as well. We've got the number one bowler in women's cricket, Sophie Eccleston, 6 for 36. What a talent she is! Absolutely phenomenal yet again. Her first ever fifer for England in the ODI format. And I think the real key moment in that run chase, I know it's very early days in the chase itself, but Anya Shrubsole, what a caught and bowled that was off of Laura Wolfhart, obviously the talisman of that South African batting lineup. It does hurt. I'd imagine that for South African fans, you'll be absolutely heartbroken because yet again, you've lost at the semi-final hurdle. But as I said, if you look at the wider picture, Holly, you've mentioned the players who can come through heading into the future. You've got some excellent players in that starting 11, and in the group stages, they've done their country very, very proud. So it's a disappointing end to the tournament, but again, if we look at the wider picture, definitely a lot of good lessons learned and definitely a lot of positives to take away from this tournament for the Momentum Proteas.
Aditya, when I look at this performance as well, like I know a lot of people will blame Sune for the toss, etc. But the way South Africa has chased in this tournament so far has been very inspiring, and they got better and better and better as the tournament went along at doing that particular role. So I thought maybe that I could understand the reason for why wanting to chase against England. But a lot of people would have thought maybe you go into bat first, and trust your best attribute, which is your bowling. The bowling wasn't good at all today, and that was the major shock for me. I was very shocked with the amount of extras that were given, and the fielding was very poor. Like I said, it costed them over 140 runs almost. Actually, if you think about it, 20 extras and that 129 as well. So like, it's crazy that they were they. I wouldn't say, I don't want to use another NGK phrase, but the kind of the tickets they bought the tickets to their own downfall ultimately, because they put themselves in a situation where they couldn't get out of, because they put themselves in such a difficult situation with the 294 to chase. I mean, it was a record total to chase, and I think if they had 270, which they were looking like it was going to be around 270, I think they would have backed themselves a lot more. It doesn't help that the reliance on Laura Wolfart is so huge, because you expect Lazelle Lee, and every time we gave Lazelle Lee a lot of leeway, saying she'll come right, the semi-final. She's keeping it for the semi-final, and I think that was the coach's mentality as well, because we were all hoping that she would, just because she's an experienced player, that she would finally come good in the final. Because when Laura got a duck, you're sitting there and you're like, okay, this is Lazelle Lee's time. It almost pointed towards that. Wasn't very good from her either. Senior players never really came to the party with regards to the bat. Laura Goodall was good again. She showed some good signs. I think she needs to be in and about this team more consistently. Sune Lewis showed a good start. It's just that there wasn't a foundation for her to work from. But they need to find ways how to build, like again I said, build partnerships, rotate the strike from the get go. We can see how Laura Wolfart, how she becomes a target when there are a lot of dot balls on the other end, and she becomes nervous, and then she does things that are maybe out of character. I must, though, give credit to England for the amount of swing they got up on this day, the amount of swing they got up front, Aditya. So, what's your thoughts, bro, basically on England's performance and South Africa? What are your points before we move on to the men?
Well, congratulations to England. Um, this was a comprehensive win, and I think that final against Australia is going to be a mouth-watering contest. Um, for South Africa, well, I think they did make a massive blunder, you know, winning the toss and putting England into bat. In a knockout game, runs on the board will always always put the opposition under pressure. Because what happens is generally, they certainly say that, like, I don't know who came up with this. Was it Ravi Shastri a while ago? He was like, you get 230, that's the equivalent of 250 or 60 in a knockout game, because you have to account for that additional pressure that's there. Secondly, I thought South Africa perhaps overestimated their. I think South Africa overestimated the degree to which their chasing template works, because on the one hand, although South Africa had a fantastic tournament batting second, in each of those games, they've also put themselves under a lot of pressure for mistakes of their own. Sure, they found a way to get over the line, but those mistakes were never really fixed, right? And I think somewhere that cost them. And we also have to recognize that South Africa's template for batting allows them to chase between 240 and 250. Do they really have the gears to be able to get to 290, 300? I don't know. And that was evident throughout this tournament, right? We can talk about the over reliance on Laura Wolfart, but at the same time, the other batters contributed, but there was never really that massive, 80, 90, or 100 from another batter, and I think that cost them. So somewhere I feel like they got their analysis wrong. If we're talking about nerves and temperament and all of these things as well, it's quite evident, right? If you drop a batter 5 times, then that's going to cost you, and that more than anything, it's not like South African team doesn't know how to field, or they don't know how to catch. Of course they do, but there's a mental game that we have to take into account here as well, and I feel like that might have been a little bit different if South Africa had batted first. Because they could have played according to their own template. If South Africa had scored, 250, who knows? It might have been a different game.
It was literally like, here you go, England, set the tone to the match. Like, so yeah, it was a bit annoying. It was a bit annoying to see that.
And I think for all the self-awareness that the South African team has shown, for all the analytical ability of Hilton Moring and Sunelus, I think they did get it wrong here. Because they probably underestimated their nerves. They probably overestimated the degree to which their chases worked, and I'm not sure they really rectified the mistakes that they made throughout the tournament. Certainly while chasing.
Yeah,
like the middle order collapse was is a proper theme of South African batting this tournament, and I don't think that the result at the end should distract the team and the analysts from that.
Yeah, we need to move on from this. I also have to say congratulations. I think we lost the game more than England winning the game. I have to say, and that's my opinion on it, because that's how I'm feeling. I feel that we basically handed you guys a lot of lifelines here, Aaron. You did play well. In some players did play well, but literally gave it to you guys on a platter. I have to say, Sophie Ikson has been phenomenal. A control, a fighter, spirit. I like her as a player. Very good young talent for the future. You guys have a very good team here, growing and building here. So, congratulations to England. And yeah, hard luck to South Africa. I think let's go again next time. Let's put enough, same amount of energy behind the ladies in every game that they play. Same behind the men too. I would like to see that as well. Let's move on. Let's go to the Bangladesh series. Now, the first test has kicked off. It's day one, and quite mixed. A little bit of mixed feelings because South Africa have gone with a team first and foremost that we thought would never be seen. And why I say that is there's only 4 players of color in the team, and it's a it's a situation where we never thought would happen after the massive talk we had at each other the other night about how this would never happen. It's happened, and we are sitting with a in a situation where South Africa um, are doing okay, but we would have hoped that they would have capitalized on their good start because we haven't seen a partnership like that in forever. Now, Sarl Ilve continued to show what has been my concerns of him. Like, even though he scored 100 before, I have certain concerns about him and his technique and the way he approaches matches. Very good player, and I think he's the right player to 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 fill that gap in that opening spot because we needed someone that can really take the game to the next level from an opening partnership perspective. I think though Peter Malanch was very hard done by for that opening spot. Oh, when Markram was pushed down the order, I thought that Peter Malan was a little bit hard done by. I think he deserved to maybe get another chance, seeing that he had an opportunity to play for South Africa before. But Sarl Ilve has come in and done a good job. But that partnership between him and Dean Alga was excellent. I think that set the tone for South Africa. And I really thought, this is exactly the start I wanted. Our 2 opening batters really grinding it out, putting runs on the board. I was very happy with the start. And then 1 wicket fell and the second wicket fell. And it was almost like 1 wicket falls and then the next happens. And then we've got Keegan Peterson looking quite fresh, actually, since he's come back to the team. And we really thought that he was going to kick on and get another one. But unfortunately, he ran out. A very, very good piece of fielding by Mehdi Hassan Miraz. And it's good to see that our players were tested. Good thought to go for the quick single. Unfortunately, unlucky. It wasn't necessarily 100% his fault. It was a very good piece of fielding, I think, in my opinion. So that's my thoughts and what I saw. So Keegan Peterson, very unlucky. And then Tembak Pavuma came to the crease, and Ryan Rickleton was also there. And I'm so happy that Ryan Rickleton got his opportunity. We saw parts of Ryan Rickleton over there, a good 20, a decent 20. Unfortunately, didn't kick on as much as we hoped. But the Bangladesh bowlers bowled really well. I think they kept their lines quite well. They put pressure on South Africa, took wickets at the right time. And now we've got King Temba Bavuma there at the crease. 50 not out with Kyle Verreynne. They're going to show that they also can put on one of those decent comebacks. Kyle Verreynne showing what he's capable of. I think this is Kyle Verreynne's strength, to be honest, coming into a situation like this to take a game forward. So hopefully they can play like they played today towards the end. The game was obviously stopped because of bad light, almost an hour early. So hopefully they'll catch up that somehow tomorrow in day 2. I was told that from a weather perspective that day 3 would have a little bit of rain and not day 2, but I've also heard that there would be maybe in second half of the day maybe some rain as well. So we don't know what's going to happen in Durban. You never know. You can rock up at the ground tomorrow and it can be pissing with rain and you don't know why. so like anything can happen at this point. Okay, so Aditya, let's get your thoughts first and foremost. What has impressed you the most about the South African batting performance and what has disappointed you more about the batting performance?
Yeah, I thought South Africa started off unusually aggressively, and I was pleasantly surprised, not going to lie. To see Dean Elgar smacking him like that, right in the first hour of a test match is a sight for sore eyes. And I guess the last time we probably saw that was against the Aussies in Cape Town, the famous sandpaper test. But yeah, I thought that intent, in my view, was a product of all the test matches that South Africa have started poorly with the bat, and something just tells me that Elgar wanted to set that straight. He wanted to make sure that South Africa did not start poorly. So that was his way of not allowing Bangladesh to get on top of South Africa. Uh, but in saying that, I think the Bangladesh bowling attack found its rhythm and the correct line and length for this particular pitch in that second hour. I think after an hour and a half of play, they really sort of hit their straps. And for some reason, they were bowling really well to Cyril Hervé, but they weren't bowling particularly well to Elgar, which I thought was a bit strange. But um, yeah, it's like they were really containing Cyril. They weren't really letting him get away with too many loose deliveries. But on the other hand, the other end was not bowling to Elgar particularly well, and he was scoring boundaries. For Elgar to score, I think was it 10 boundaries in before lunch on day one of a test match. That's unheard of. That is insane. Yeah. So I thought that was impressive, but again, we have to say that for players getting starts and not converting them into big hundreds, that's quite disappointing. And certainly in home conditions where you've dominated that first hour of play, there is that opportunity to score really big and ensure that you bat only once in that test match. So I think to see Alga out for 67 was disappointing. Cyril Hervé did all the hard work, faced over 100 deliveries for his 41, and then got out there. His home ground.
I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned about that, Aditya, about Cyril Hervé, that aspect of his game, because he seems to lose his wicket in those type of moments quite often. I mean, we know in the domestic scene he lost his wicket on 199, I think it was, before he got his double century. He gets into situations like that often where he gets look at the SIA side. How many times he got close to getting a milestone and he fell just short. So it seems to be in his system. I think that's the reason why he has so many 50s and so little half centuries. I mean, so little centuries in first class cricket. His conversion hasn't been necessarily that good. He always tends to get bogged down and get himself out.
I'm sorry to distract, but one South African, Dwayne Pretorius, has gotten another South African, Quinton de Kock, out right now. So, in the thick of things, guys. 61 or 45.
I love Dwayne Pretorius. I love Dwayne.
But to get back to the test match, Keegan Peterson getting run out for 19. You don't want that, right? He's coming back from COVID-19. He missed out on New Zealand. He cemented his place in the team after a fantastic series against India. You don't want him getting run out for 19. I think a lot of stuff that is avoidable was unfortunately not avoided in this test match, on this day. And that, to me, is a bit disappointing. I know we've been expecting big things from Ryan Rickleton, and to see him get out for 21 is disappointing. But then I think that's where, we've got to implore fans to be patient, because
of course,
this is international cricket, and sure, we want him to score at that clip.
Yeah, like there was enough in his innings to look at and be inspired by it. Like to say, he needs to. It's one of those things where that adjustment that we spoke to Dean Alga about is we spoke about this particular thing. When a new player comes into his side and is trying to find his game, he's going to maybe. Not everybody gets 100 on debut or 50 on debut. Not everybody is lucky enough to do so. They have to figure out their game and adapt it. And Ryan is the type of batter that likes to play shots. It's just who he naturally is. He might need to hold that back a little bit and maybe hold back a bit, like we saw KP do. KP similarly likes to play strokes. We saw in his second innings, he immediately pulled that back and played less strokes. So we might see that from Ryan Rickleton. The situation was maybe not set up for his type of style of batting, but he'll learn that quickly. I think in his second innings, I think he'll be a lot better than he was in his first, hopefully, cross fingers. I think he needs to watch the way Kyle Verreynne goes about his business over here. I'm hoping that Kyle Verreynne can put on a display here that is impressive, that we can learn from. But yeah, certain parts we're obviously upset about that. We don't want to see these players get starts and then lose their wicket. So hopefully we can continue with us too at the week in the middle of the year. Aaron, your thoughts? I mean, we have Simon Harmer. It was good to maybe see Boucher have a friend in the commentary box. Oh, not the commentary, in the dressing room for a change. He was chilling by Boucher the entire game, talking to him, showing tactics. They were like fully on in. We never see Boucher yap so much ever. I don't even see him yap so much in a press conference. So it was good to see, it's good to see that he had someone to chat to in the dressing room. Yeah, so we have Simon Harmer available. He's decent with the bat too, so we don't have to worry necessarily about that too much. I think the two batters can just go out there tomorrow and just play with their style. Unfortunate that Kingsmead wasn't necessarily very prepared for this particular match with the side screen breaking and starting a delayed match. We started late, and then also coming off with bad light when the sun was still out. I was like, what's going on? It's a bit weird. But anyway, that can happen, I guess, with overcast conditions, etc. And maybe that was a bit dark, but we have to just believe that the umpires took us off. But hopefully we can get a longer day of cricket tomorrow. Aaron, your thoughts?
Sorry, you're just talking about bad light. It's March here. This is meant to be spring here in England, and it's snowing. There's snow outside. This is where the weather's meant to be getting better. So apologies for the poor lighting behind me. But to be honest, Aditya's...
I want snow.
It does look quite cool, I must admit. But Aditya's pretty much covered what I wanted to cover. But can we just take a moment again to appreciate that knock from Dean Elgar? Because how many times have we used the word grit and determination steel with Dean to describe his innings? Today, all out the window. Very much free-flowing, very elegant, very flairful. Great to see. It really was, and he really set the tempo, set the tone, and I thought that opening pairing was absolutely sensational. We've been talking about this for months, about that stable opening foundation. In today's test, South Africa got exactly that. Yes, it's unfortunate that no one kicked on, but you have got two batsmen at the crease who can do exactly that. Temba, again, looked very good today. Almost at his best. Fingers crossed that he can finally get that test century. And then at the same time, you've got Kyle Verreynne, who, as we all know, just oozes pure class. So fingers crossed that the Proteas, put some decent runs on the board. But something we didn't actually talk about was the fact that Bangladesh won the toss and elected to have a bowl first, which I found quite strange, to be honest, considering you've mentioned there Simon Harmer, someone who, again, and I love this stat, I know it's county cricket, I know it's domestic cricket, it's not international, but ever since he joined Essex in 2017, he's only ever gone wicketless on 2 separate occasions in the 4th innings of a match. He's one of the most prolific 4th innings wicket takers in world domestic cricket.
I never knew that.
Great stats. That's what you get from the County Cricket podcast. Episodes up every single week. But when it comes to Harmer, we got to do everything we can for listeners. But when it comes to Simon Harmer, I'm looking forward to seeing him again. And obviously, Kingsmead, we know there is that extra bit of grip and turning the surface. I just thought it was a really, really interesting decision. And actually, for yourself and obviously everyone watching, what did you make of the decision itself? I wasn't a massive fan of it personally, given the fact that you've got 2 such prolific spin bowlers on the opposition side.
Now for a word from Aaron from Cricket Connoisseur.
You're funny.
He wants to give you a little bit of a punt there quickly, guys. Do you want to go there,
guys?
Aaron?
Feel free to follow the County Cricket Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Acast, any major podcast streaming platforms. Your one-stop shop for all things county cricket in England and Wales. Love that, Harley.
Lovely.
Great new segment.
Love it, Aaron. Love it, Aaron. So don't forget to go follow him everywhere as well, guys, and smash the like button here too. Subscribe here too. Okay, so yeah, I think Bangladesh did though achieve what they wanted to get majority of the top order batters out early, and they achieved that at least. Apart from Dean Elgar and Timber Bavuma and Saril Iyave, they pretty much did their job. If they can come tomorrow and get that ball to move and take a few early wickets, I don't think that the situation ending early was good for South Africa. I think it was better for Bangladesh to just put a hold on things, because Calvarena and Bavuma were starting to get into the flow of things. I mean, that cut shot from Cal is one of my favorites. It almost looks like it's an edge, but he just moves it. It's controlled with the wrist into the corner, between the slips and third man, and he just goes for four. So like he's done it quite a few times. I've seen him do it quite a bit at domestic level. So I don't think it's a fluke shot. I think he actually means it. If you look at the way quickly he turns his head just to watch where the ball's going, I think he's aware of what he's doing with that particular shot. So it is good to see him use his wrist movements and those deft touches. But overall, good performance, I think, from South Africa so far for the recovery perspective. I really would like to see Calvarain and Temba really kick on and put 300 plus on the board. That would be, then I'll be sitting here quite happy. Final words from Aditya, final words from Aaron before we say bye to the fans. Aaron, we can start with you.
Yeah, again, just going back onto that theme, hopefully the likes of Kyle and Temba can go on, score some big runs. And obviously on the flip side of that, if you are looking at this from a Bangladeshi perspective, early wickets, it's so cliche, but it's exactly what you want in a test match like this. They need to restrict South Africa to as few runs as possible. Because if that pitch, and I say if, it's more of a case of when, to be honest, in Durban, but when that pitch does start to show that little bit more of grip and exchange and purchasing the surface, this is going to be very, very difficult to chase on indeed. So Bangladesh, early wickets for South Africa, Carl and Temba lay a solid foundation for the likes of Mulder and Harmer to go out there and just whack it about a bit, maybe towards the latter stages. And obviously for the Proteas, just wishing them all the best of luck. You know, heading into the rest of this test match, fingers crossed they can take a 1-0 lead heading into the rest of the series.
Will be the starter we needed. Very impressive that the Dean took the game by the scruff of the neck, and he said, "Look, I'm going to put them in a situation like he promised." That's what he promised us. He said he wants to get a strong start, and he delivered. Riemann Sarel. Aditya.
Well, for the men, this is a test match that they should expect to win, but at the same time, I feel like South Africa should try to play the best cricket, because there is this monkey on their back that they're slow starters and they typically underperform in first tests of series, and this is their opportunity to reverse that trend. So hopefully, South Africa can go on to make 500 tomorrow. Temba can make 220 not out. Kyle Verena can be 135 not out. That's okay. And then we'll see what Bangladesh has to offer. As for the women, it's heartbreak. I can't even begin to imagine what they're feeling right now. And it is unfortunate that this game happened at this stage of the tournament. But perhaps there's learning out of this, and next time around, there's a little more wisdom in the bank. There's a little more experience in the bank. There's more skill. Perhaps there's more fitness. Perhaps, more hundreds in the tournament. South Africa becomes that team that's consistently posting, 345 in every game, batting first, and chasing down 300 in, under 40 overs. So, maybe in 4 years' time, it'll be a different team, new approach, and things like that. So, it's unfortunate that South Africa have lost, and I can understand. I don't want to say I can understand, but I can imagine that there is disappointment in the team and for all the stakeholders. But I guess be disappointed today. The sun will shine again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell for all future videos. Follow the guys here on the screen as well. Also become a part of Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free. Straight to your inbox every single month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. There's a Dean Alga on the front cover this month. We have an exclusive from him. Exclusive from Sarel. A good piece on KP. A good piece on the Titans winning the title. So go ahead and look at that as well as a good Q&A. Also become a patron. That's how you keep the lights on. So go ahead, click on the link on the screen and as well as in the description. You can go ahead and become a patron and choose a tier that suits you. Go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. And that's where you'll see our reviews, our previews, everything that we produce from a content perspective on the site. So go ahead and click on that too. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for all the support. We're getting closer to that 3,000 mark. We're only like seven subscribers away. So please go ahead and smash the subscribe button.
Share
Let's get
this
there,
video.
guys.
Share this video right now. You deserve every single one of those subscribers, Harley. Every single one. You work very hard, mate.
Thanks a lot, bro. Thanks a lot to everybody for the support. And thanks for all the kind words on yesterday's Dean Elgar video. I really appreciated it. Brought tears to my eyes, especially when I'm in an emotional state like I am right now. When my favorite artist brought out an album, it really affected me emotionally. So I'm in a very emotional state right now. So thanks a lot, guys. You brought tears to my eyes with those comments. Continue keeping us with the support. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace.